If Paulie were to call you right now and say, I'm getting the ECW guys together to do a show somewhere. You know, it could be in California, it could be in Philly, it could be anywhere. Or Todd Gordon, who's doing Pro Wrestling Unplugged now, he's doing the shows at the ECW Arena, the new Alhambra Arena. If either one of those guys called you right now and say, hey, we want to use you for this, we'll pay you this, would you be interested in going, or are you strictly California right now and you're going to just wait it out?
If it was Todd Gordon, I would say good luck with the show. If it was Paul, I would say let's do lunch. Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
And I hope to, in some capacity, work with Paul Heyman again in the future.
All right, this one's from Jeffrey, not me, a different Jeff.
Jeffrey from Toys R Us?
Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. Do you have any advice?
Spells it with a G.
No, it's a J.
Okay, different Jeffrey.
Different Jeffrey. Do you have any advice at all for a 14-year-old who dreams of one day making it as a pro wrestler? I work out every other day. Every wrestling school I've applied to is saying I'm too young. I'm an 8th grader in a school that doesn't have any wrestling as a sport, so for now I'm waiting until high school to start wrestling.
Well, obviously at 14 you are too young to be a professional, and it's great to have a goal, and it's great to work towards that goal. I was probably 14, 15 when I decided I wanted to be a wrestler. When I was 18 years old, I joined a wrestling school. Up until then, I did everything to put the odds in my favor. I wasn't a 200-pound 14-year-old. I was like 130 pounds maybe, you know. I graduated high school at like 180 pounds, you know, so I was lifting, I was eating everything I could, I was learning everything I could about wrestling, and that's what I would advise any 14-year-old or any kid or anybody that wants to wrestle. Also, you have to consider the fact that you are swimming upstream. You have to know that the odds are way against you even making it, let alone making it to the top and standing out and being successful at it. Having said that, that doesn't mean you can't do it. I can never tell anybody that they can't follow their dreams because I did it. I'm proof to myself, you know. I was just a kid and I had everybody feeding me negative energy, telling me I was never going to do it and I'd never make it. And I chose to hold on to my own faith and my own discipline, and I made it happen, you know, and I think anybody else can too. When it comes time to looking at wrestling schools, nobody's got a better setup than Booker T in Houston, Texas. The PWA is the shit. You go to any wrestling school anywhere, 99% of the times you're going to get trained by some guy that either you've never heard of, or he's some guy that you might have seen get beat on TV a few times, so now he's bitter because he's not getting booked anymore, you know, and so he comes in with this bitter attitude and wants to teach all these young guys how to respect the business, you know, and he never got his fair shot, but guess what? He didn't have what it takes. He's not marketable. Nobody wanted to make him a superstar. Any wrestler goes their whole career without ever selling one ticket, and then they feel like they got shorted because they spent enough time putting other guys over, and then they thought eventually it would just come around, it would be their time. They don't get it. It's a business. You have to sell tickets. Anyway, you go to PWA in Houston, you can get trained by Booker T, a current television superstar and one of the best ever, and that is just unheard of, you know, besides the fact that I've been to a school, nicest school I've ever been to. It's got 4 or 5 rings, monitors over the rings so people can watch TV while they're training, the gym, the office, this big warehouse. It's awesome. Besides the 15-year anniversary show that I did, I wrestled for Booker T. It was December 28th. Those are the only 2 matches that I've had since June when I finished my WWE contract.
Do you like the way they wrote you out? Storyline with the
No,
concussion?
fuck no, man.
I thought it was so bogus.
I pride myself my entire career on being tough, you know, and even within the confines of entertainment, it's important for me to show my durability, my speed, you know, the abuse that I can take. As I said, people watch my matches and they know they couldn't survive those kinds of matches. That's because I'm really eating shit. I'm getting DDT'd on top of my head. I'm taking a chair shot that folds a chair around my head. I'm out there to show what I got. You know what I mean?
Right.
People are buying a ticket to see me. I'm in the spotlight. I'm not going to hold back. That's what it's about. I'm tough. I've gone my whole career, you know, without really being injured, you know, until I had to have my knee reconstructed, which was so many years in, and I went so long on it after it was injured that I'm actually fairly proud of that. To be written out because I had a concussion on the storyline, it's very weak. It's insulting to my character, and I hate the fact that some fans that might not watch your show or some of the insights, you know, behind the scenes, they might still in their mind think that I'm out with a concussion, and no, that's not cool to me. I want it out so bad that when they suggested it, I saw that as my exit and said, boom, let's fucking do it.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
I'm going.
See ya.
Yeah.
Somebody get me some ice. I got a headache. Bye.
Yeah. I think it's great that most of the RVD fans, the true RVD fans, the ones that have followed you since the early days of ECW, are the ones that go on the websites, are the ones that follow behind the scenes, and they know for sure that's not the case that you're at with
Hope
concussion
so.
still. Hope so.
For the longest time, I was getting get well wishes on my MySpace.
Oh.
In MySpace / 5-Star Comics.
Yes. Make sure you go to that. Also, robvandam.com, where you can pick up
Dude, check this out.
brand new shirt. Brand spanking new.
T-shirt.
RVD TV, is that what it is? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't see the TV part on it. Cool.
Rob Van Dam's signature autograph on the back.
You can't get that anywhere unless you go to this guy. So
Some yin yangs on the sleeve to keep you harmoniously in balance.
there you go.
It's all about balance.
Check it out at the 5-Star Comics store on robvandam.com.
And don't send any get well wishes because I am doing great.
He's great. The knee's
I feel
good. The head's
happy,
good.
I feel healthy. I feel terrific.
You feel good. Have you given any thought to opening your own wrestling school? To do what the Sheik did for you?
That's always been on the table as a possible scenario, something I could do. Right now, it couldn't really be a lot further from my interest. You know, part of being so burnt out on wrestling is that I need to stay away from it. That's part of my spiritual rehabilitation right now, is by staying away from wrestling. That means I don't watch it, you know, which has been true to me since like 2000 or so anyway. When I do interviews and people say, how do you feel that they're using Eugene right now? I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I don't watch it, you know. Even when I was doing it, I would just watch my matches to critique it, you know, as a business perspective and try and improve, you know. But I believe, you know, that probably I've got a lot to offer, and if I had a wrestling school, I would hopefully be able to really teach some insight from a one-of-a-kind perspective, you know, on what it's like to be out there performing, you know. And however, not interested in it, dude. Right now, I'm so burnt out on wrestling that when I look at wrestling, I don't understand it. I don't understand why there's 10,000 people in the stands. Why have they left there? I would sit there and do that. When I was on the show, towards the end there, I'd say, why are all these people here filling up this arena? Why aren't they at home? Because I wanted to be home. You know, I missed home. Right. These guys, they watch these same assholes on TV every single week. It's just 4 ropes. Everybody's got 2 arms and 2 legs. Most of them aren't doing anything different, giving any effort or any attempt whatsoever to show something that we haven't seen. So I don't understand what they enjoy about it, and I started really, that's when I realized I really needed to not be there, you know, because I didn't get it anymore, you know. Last night I turned on UWF and I was flipping through the channels, right? And I said, oh, and I watched a couple minutes of Brian Blair and something, and I was laughing, you know, and I was like, you know, the wrestling was so different then because the bar hadn't been raised up so high, you know, it was a total different style. I enjoyed it for a few minutes, and then I realized if you don't really love that business, you can't do it. You can't. You have to really, really love it. Bruno Sammartino is like obviously the legend of legends. I mean, you're not going to hear anybody say anything but utmost respect for that guy. You know, that's what I find. And I'm listening to his commentary and I'm thinking this guy has to really love it to do what he's doing. You know, he has to. I'm watching and I just saw like this horrible, horrible, crappy, shitty punch somebody threw a wrestling. You know, it was just something that made me want to turn the channel. And I'm listening to Bruno saying, oh, wow, did you see that left come out of, you know, right field and nearly knocked his jaw off? And I'm thinking, I couldn't do that. I could not get there and pretend I'm enjoying that to the point to where I'm trying to get other people to enjoy it too, you know. I'd be the opposite. If I was a commentator, I'd be like, oh my God, he didn't even get that drop kick above his waist. What the hell? Don't these guys go to wrestling school before they come out on TV? Did you see that? He tried to drop kick him and 1 foot went in his nuts and the other one hit him in the thigh. You people see that? Oh, there he goes, trying to make it up the ropes. We'll be lucky if he makes it to the top with his coordination. I would be the opposite. I'd be just tearing these guys apart because that's what I see.
Now that you've taken a step back and you're looking from the outside in at ECW right now and the way it's being presented by WWE, I noticed, and one of the fans brought this up, his name is Billy, at the Royal Rumble match itself.
Hi, Billy.
Hi, Billy. Chavo Guerrero, who is the ECW champion right now, was entered in the Royal Rumble match.
Okay.
And the winner of the Rumble is supposed to get a championship opportunity. Why does it make sense for a champion of the ECW champion at that to challenge for a world championship. Shouldn't the ECW title be considered a world title? They saw that as kind of a slap in the face to the ECW title and the ECW itself. So how long do you see ECW actually existing after doing these constant things to just water down the name ECW?
Well, I'll tell you, the response I have to that is based on a conversation I had with Vince McMahon when I was telling him why ECW is not going to work. Okay, the ECW fans aren't going to go for this. All right, you can't do this and this, you know. And I hit him with all these things. And at first he would listen to me, and when I knew that it was time for me to start, you know, looking towards the exit doors, when I realized he had absolutely no interest whatsoever in reviving the spirit of ECW. It didn't even need revived. It was there. Obviously it was there. The fans brought it. Us original wrestlers brought it. And it was a big part of the show that Vince refused to see. And, you know, his response was, oh, Rob, nobody remembers the old ECW. And I swear, I mean, this is a man who has the largest ego that you'll ever deal with. I mean, I've never met anybody. And it's not from a point of it's not like he's a conceited asshole. It's not like that. It's just that the way that he thinks is inside the McMahon box. He never has to think outside the McMahon box. He says, Rob, things change. People grow up. They have kids. They get married. They move on. They quit watching wrestling, you know. I said, wait a second. Didn't we bring back ECW based on the success of One Night Stand? You know, in that DVD, The Rise and Fall of ECW.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that, you know, what Jerry this? He goes, Rob, for all I know, those 2,500 fans at the Manhattan Ball Center were the last of the old ECW fans. I said, you're kidding me. They bought that DVD everywhere. Well, yeah, I advertised it on my show. So, Vince, why do you think the fans chant ECW? Because I spent the last 5 years training them to do that. And the thing is, he honestly really believes that. He's speaking from some kind of position that to me is far from reality. So how do you argue with that? You can't argue with that. You tap. Eventually you tap. You say, okay, I'm done. You know, when I told him ECW is not going to work, it comes across like a third brand that's a lesser brand. It's not as cool as the other two. So really, what you've done is you've had this product that was totally different, and you've made it much in the same pattern or same likeness as the other ones, but with a much lesser quality. That's how it comes across. And when I told him that, and I said it's not going to work because the ECW fans, they want to support the original ECW, you know what he says to me? Rob, it's going to work because I'm going to make it work.
Oh, brother.
Well, there you go. So how long do I think it's going to last? I guess, you know, Vince has some deep pockets. If he doesn't change his perspective and he thinks he's going to keep it going, then I guess he can keep it going. This guy, it's more important for him to say that he's been there at the top than it is for him to say he's had success. I truly believe that. People ask me about that with the movies out here. You know, how come when he does these movies, you know, why doesn't he look to get his wrestlers? Well, he likes to do big box office movies that cost $30 million, that lose $30 million. Then he can say he's had a movie in all the theaters, advertised everywhere, a top, you know, theatrical release. And to him, that's more important than spending an intelligent $2 million on an action movie that can really gross a lot. No, that's not the way he thinks. He brought back his own football league, you know, to compete just so he could say that he's done that. Lost money, big deal. He brought back his own, you know, his own bodybuilding federation. It's the same thing for Vince. I think it's more important for him to say he's been there, he's done that, and you can all remember it because he was on top. And for him, that is his own standard of success that you use, and you compare it to like you or I, who would use a measure of success standard by like, did we make any money off of it?
Yeah.
Tell you what, if you got $1 billion, I guess you don't look at some pocket change the same way.
It's so funny with Vince, you know, the thing I remember most about watching the McMahon DVD that came out, I think it was 2 years ago or last year, whatever it was, there were so many failures mentioned in the trailers, the WBF, the XFL, you know, all these failures, and then when the DVD comes out, the WBF is nowhere to be found on the DVD at all. Mm-hmm. The XFL is a little blip on a clip, and then, you know, the whole thing, you know, the big angle everybody talked about with Vince, that he's the only one who liked it, was the big Katie Vick angle with Triple H. And, you know, he said, I just don't think it was funny. It's like, what are you watching? What are you doing? For me, I think that, you know, I think reviving ECW for him was kind of like, okay, let's give the people what they want, but then I'm going to make them know what they want. And that's what you basically said. Yeah. You know, it's just that's just my opinion. That's how I see it. I'm going to make them know what they want. You know that's how it is.
When you're the only show in town, you can force feed wrestling to the crowd and say, this is wrestling because I say it's wrestling. You know?
Exactly.
And that's how it used to be, by the way. Back like when I was a fan, we got WWF and that was it. I didn't have the satellite or Cablevision. I didn't get WCW where I grew up in Battle Creek, and I didn't get AWA or UWF or none of that. I only knew WWF, you know, and so to me, you know, Vince's television dominated. Whatever he said was wrestling, it was to me and to many other people. And then several years later, he kind of lost the ability to say, I'm going to show you what wrestling is. It's what I want it to be. Because then people say, wait, okay, we like your 300-pound dancing hillbillies and all that. But now we got Japanese wrestling, we got Mexican wrestling, we got all these other organizations. And now we know that there's some guys that might not be 300 pounds that are way more entertaining to watch, that are working their asses off for my dollar, that are creative, that are acrobatic, they're athletic. And guess what? Eventually it became up to the fan to actually choose. They had a choice, you know. Now it's back to where they don't really have a choice again, isn't it?
Yep. One of our fans, John, wanted to know.
Hey, John.
His nickname is Cheeseburger for some reason. I don't know why, but it is. If you hadn't been locked into a contract in the original One Night Stand, 2005, when you came out to the promo with Fonzie against the WWE Crusaders.
Sure.
If you hadn't been locked into a contract, would you have done Hardcore Homecoming as well? And who would you like to work at that show? Both shows actually, because you didn't get to work. All you did was the brief interference with Rhino.
Well, if I wasn't under contract with WWE, of course they could have still brought me in, you know, as a day player, like they did for a lot of the ECW guys, or they signed him up for a temporary deal and got rid of him or whatever. So, if we're going to rule out that option as well, then of course I would have been interested in the Hardcore Homecoming. You know, the thing about that is ECW One Night Stand was my idea, right?
Right.
I was the one that went to Vince and said, you know what, there's this void. We want to be seen the way we used to be seen. We want that artistic freedom. The fans, they miss it. They want to see that too. We just need one night, an alumni reunion. All the ECW fans get together, no storylines, nothing. Just give us one night to show the way that we want to wrestle, the way that we want to reach out to our fans artistically. And that was my idea. And to go to Vince with that and to say, you know, if we can do this on WWE's platform so the whole world can see what they might have missed if they didn't get syndicated TV or whatever, that was just, it was obviously a very successful idea. And then what I guess Hardcore Homecoming's follow-up idea must have been, well, wait a second, now if they're doing this, but Vince is getting all the money, that's bullshit, and we're not invited, let's do our own show, let's get everyone here, you know, that they're not using, let's show what ECW really is, because Vince doesn't know, he doesn't know ECW, and he shouldn't be getting the money. So it's kind of like a split, you know, thought there. True, Vince, you know, was ultimately getting the money, but it was because of him that the thing even came about, and also it was his platform, you know, and it was him. It was WWE's television and pay-per-view that got it seen around the world, you know. If I didn't have any of that and I'd just been approached, you know, Hardcore Homecoming, hey, we're going to do this thing, WWE's got their show, we're going to do our own, then of course I would have been interested in talking to them. I don't necessarily think that they put out a different spirit, which I think was probably the intention. They probably thought, this one's going to be WWE version of ECW, and it really wasn't. A little bit.
The first one wasn't. I'll give you that.
With the exception of having JBL and those guys in the building. They didn't need to be there, obviously.
No.
But with the exception of that, dude, it was ECW all the way, because it was us, the performers. And that day I had to go around to the guys, too, and kind of loosen them up, man. They're all like, you know, like all nervous, like they think they're there for an audition to try and get a job with WWE. I'm like, no, guys, stop it. We're here to show what ECW is, man. Be yourself, you know?